bro. Hold on. That gonna let y'all in a second. Hold on. Let me try to get this here up real quick. Okay. Oh, hey, give me a second. Good evening. Good night, everybody. How you all doing? Give me a second. Give me just 1 second. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm actually trying to share this video to my regular Facebook page. So y'all give me a second, because I know ain't too many people. There's not that many people subscribed to this channel. So I want to share this video. Regular Facebook page. Y'all give me a second. That's not what I want to do again. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna get it right. I'm not used to doing these Facebook type videos. These type videos on Facebook, so y'all bear with me. We're gonna copy text. We're gonna share this to my regular page. And there we are. All right, here we go. Okay, now it's posted to my regular page, and we're finna go with it. I'm not gonna keep you all that long. I had promised to do this video earlier today, but I really didn't get a chance. I had some things going on that were very important. Let me make sure that it's on my page before we go any further, and then I'll get right off into it again. I'm not gonna keep y'all very long, but yeah, here we are. All right. Good evening, everybody. How you all doing? Y'all know who this is. This is your boy, Rob Thomas Jr., and this is the real news behind the news. Oh, yeah, today is Tuesday, May 18th, 2021. And I'm doing this video to give you all some heads up and to show you how censorship actually happens, and to show you how easily it is to control, for a government to control a narrative and basically brainwash and deceive their citizens, population, and if possible, the whole world. Now, right now, I'm the only Negro that's watching this video, but I know quite a few people will come in later on and check this video out. Actually, I'm doing this again on StreamYard. It's a format that I'm used to using on YouTube, but I never really, it's hard using it on Facebook. But anyway, here we go. We're finna tell y'all. We're finna break down what's actually going on over in the country of Israel and tell you why it is very, very relevant to us here in the United States and around the world, in particular, Black people here in the United States. I know if you've been listening to me for a while now, you always hear me say, Black people in America really need to pay attention to what's going on in the country of Israel and how they treat the Palestinians. And the reason why I'm always saying that is because your government, the United States government, gives the country of Israel at least $10 million a week. Keep in mind, this is just a weekly budget that we give to the country of Israel for weapons and research development on crowd suppression, to develop new weapons, crowd control. We give the country of Israel $10 million a week just to practice oppressive techniques on the citizens in Palestine, the Palestinians. Literally, do your research, check it out. That's not including what we give them only a year just in foreign aid. Now, Black people, again, when I say you have to understand what's going on with Jeffrey Epstein, and how the Israelis treat the well, first of all, how the black people, we need to understand how the Israelis treat the Palestinians, because that money that we give them every week for research and development on weapons and crowd oppression, suppression, and all that, they practice techniques on the Palestinian people, and pretty much on a yearly basis, police departments, sheriff departments, and our military travels to Israel to learn those tactics that they have developed and implemented on the Palestinians, and they bring it right back here to us. Classic example, we just had a police officer up in Minneapolis to get convicted for murdering George Floyd. But do you all really know where they get that tactic from, putting a knee on your neck? The Israeli Defense Force. See, you got to realize, the money that we give the Israelis every week, $10 million on a weekly basis, is designed for them, again, to create new weapons, and the techniques that they perfect by oppressing the civil rights of the Palestinians, they bring it back here to America through your police departments. You have to realize what's going on over in Israel. You have a bunch of people who stole an identity. Let me break down a little history for y'all real quick. Those people over there right now that's claiming to be the rightful owners of their land are liars. These people come from a place called Khazar. They are Khazarian Jews. And what happened about 200 years ago, there was a war between Christianity in the north of Russia and Islam in the south. These people were caught up in the middle of this war. And in order to basically escape from being conquered by Christians in the north, Muslims in the south, they took on the Jewish identity. That's why they are called originally Khazarian Jews, because they came from Khazar. They were born and raised there. That's literally where they're from. You had a bunch of white people who literally took on the identity of Jewish people just so that they could not be conquered by again, Christians in the north, Muslims in the south. Now, throughout the years, they spread throughout Russia, throughout the rest of Europe. And after World War II, these people had become so powerful financially through banking systems, through usury, and these were God's people. What's up, cuz? What's going on, Danny? What's going on? I'm just breaking down a little history to the people, man, trying to get them to understand that those people over there are imposters who are literally basically keeping the Palestinians in an open air prison. When I say open air prison, that means that they are, even though they live in a city, that whole place, the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and all those places where they talk about the Palestinians is walled off. Literally a prison. They cannot leave. They cannot come and go. They cannot even get food unless the Israeli government allows it to go in there. All the foreign aid that comes from countries throughout the world to help the Palestinians cannot get it unless the Israeli government allows them to, because everything that goes in and out of Palestine for the Palestinians has to go through the Israeli government. Now, people keep talking about these God's people, but if these people are God's people, you wonder why I do not serve that God. Because he's a racist. This is an apartheid government, the Israeli government. Now, this is no indictment against the Israeli people per se, but these are people who don't belong there. Because again, they're from Russia, and they went and lobbied and leveraged their financial wealth and power to demand that the Europeans and the United States, after winning World War II, create a homeland for them. which is how they actually wound up in Israel. Those folks don't belong over there, man. When you go back and look at the original Semitic Jews, those people don't look nothing like them. They literally stole an identity, used it, and leveraged themselves to create themselves a homeland based upon what the Bible says, that the Jews would eventually come back to Israel. But guess what? The Palestinians are more Semitic and have more rights and claim to their land than those folks ever will. But we're not being told that. And I'm going to get off into the story. Let me speed this up because we already been going 10 minutes. I don't want to hold y'all. But you have to understand the history. Now, when you are shown here in America images of what's going on, you got to keep in mind, you are being brainwashed. You're being fed propaganda. Recently, just last, I think it was Saturday, the Israeli government bombed a building. And in the mainstream media in the West, well, mostly in America, because I'm going to show you why your government is able to be brainwashed by controlled by the Israeli government, and it has a lot to do with, it has everything to do with Jeffrey Epstein. But they bombed the building. Now, the original narrative coming from the Israelis is that the reason why they bombed this building is because Hamas is basically using that building to hide human shields. Get your butt down, child. Sit down. To hide behind human shields. They were using this building to conduct communication. All that is bullshit. That building that the Israelis bombed houses international press reporters. The reason why they bombed that building is to keep those reporters from showing you the war crimes and literal atrocities that the Israelis are committing right now, as we speak, against the Palestinians. Do you all realize how many charges the Israeli government is facing in the International World Court? Because there is such thing as a court, International World Court. Look it up. For violating the Palestinians' equal right. Do you all realize? You all call them God's people and say that they have a right to return, but do you realize even the United Nations consider the Israeli people, the Israeli government, as an occupying force in their land? Sadducees and Pharisees, these people were not even close to that, because they do not belong in that land. Again, you have to remember, they stole that identity, the Jewish identity, rewrote history as they traveled throughout the West, painting themselves as the real Jews, the real Hebrews. So they don't have a right to claim none of that, man. Not even Pharisees and Sadducees. They don't have a right to claim none of that. They're just like me coming to your house, putting you in a cage and saying that I'm daddy to the rest of the world. This is literally what they done. Now, the reason why you have to, again, understand what's going on with black people in America, because, again, those tactics that they use against the Palestinians, they use against us here. Why do you think our neighborhoods are called ghettos? Where did they Hitler them put all the Jews? In ghettos. You got to understand what's really going on. This shit is way bigger than the human imagination in America can comprehend, because in America, we won't even begin to think about researching the history, because we're being controlled by those people. Liberal history lesson, how they get control. Let me show you how these Jews get control of everything that you see and hear. And you gotta go back to Napoleon. This is what actually happened and how they get their clout and how they are a apartheid state. Their apartheid against the Palestinians is worse than what blacks suffered in apartheid South Africa. But let me show you how they get power. Everybody heard pretty much the Rothschilds. If you have not been sleeping under a rock for the last 200 years, you know who the Rothschild family is. The Rothschild family, by themselves, own more wealth than the rest of the world combined. You know how that happened? When Napoleon was marching on Waterloo, before Napoleon even began to initiate battle in Waterloo, Nathan Rothschild sent a messenger back to Great Britain and said that Napoleon had won the battle, everything is lost. When that messenger made that message, the stock market in Great Britain and rest of Europe tumbled, and Nathan Rothschild was able to go in and buy up all the stock, literally buy the European continent for pennies on the dollar, which is why they are the richest family in world history. Because again, the Rothschild, due to that conspiring with that false messenger and the false message, literally controls half the world's wealth. Because that family alone by themselves is worth more than everybody else on the planet combined. Fact. Study it. Study history. Study history, man. Especially Christians, because again, if you American Christians, especially black people, let me get you to understand. If you are a Christian, subscribing to the way Christianity is being taught to us today, which is passed down from our slave masters, you are being indoctrinated in what is called Zionism. I bet y'all don't even know what that word is. Black people, majority of black people have no clue as to what Zionism is. Do you realize that those ultra-Orthodox Jews over in Israel will tell you that they are not supposed to inherit that land? This is what the real Jews, the Jews who really study history, will tell you. They don't have no right to that land. But we in America, as black people, sit up here because the Bible says, them the real Jews. How the fuck do you know? If you don't do your research, your historical research. But most black people, white people too, but most Americans, as Christian Americans, are not going to look at any book outside the Bible. That's a fact. Because your pastor going to tell you, you shouldn't read that. Why the fuck not? It was written just like the Bible was written. But you have all these historical facts that we will refuse to look at, and we will sit up there and see these Palestinians throwing rocks on the news, because that's all they're going to show you, saying that the Palestinians are causing trouble again, but they're not showing you that they're throwing rocks at fucking tanks. This is why they're throwing rocks, because Israel is throwing motherfucking missiles and they got tanks. These folks over there, literally, according to the United Nations, are an occupied people by an occupying force. But y'all call them God's people. And again, if those are God's people, you wonder why I don't give a fuck about that God, because he is a racist. The God who created all mankind and then said that one group is my chosen people. Don't you realize that's racism? That's where racism fucking started, with that God. Because he created everybody else to tell us we wasn't shit if we wouldn't belong to that one group of people. Come on now, let's just keep this real, man. And I know this, I'm trying not to cuss a little bit more. No more in here. But you got to start, man, people got to start waking up and understand you're being brainwashed. Now, let me show you how you're being brainwashed and how those people who claim to be the rightful Jews over in Israel control our government. Jeffrey Epstein. Most people thought that he was just a trafficker, a pedophile, or whatever. But do you realize Jeffrey Epstein, if he's dead, because he might still be alive somewhere over in Israel, he worked for the Israeli Mossad, which is the equivalent to our CIA, FBI, and all that. He worked for the Mossad, and his job was to catch your politicians here in America in compromising situations with minors on camera so that he can blackmail them on behalf of the Israeli government. This is what really going on with Jeffrey Epstein. And you don't hear about this on the mainstream news because they're not going to tell you. You know why? Because they're in control themselves by those people over there claiming to be the original Jews, who are nothing more than an occupying force in a land that they have no right to claim as their own. Yeah, that's what Jeffrey Epstein, that's why he was so important, and that's why they hurry up and faked his death if he's dead, if he's not dead. And if he's dead, that's why they hurry up and killed him. Because they could not let you know that he was a spy for the Israeli government. And his job again was to catch your politicians with their dinglings in little kids' mouth. That's really what was going on with Jeffrey Epstein. So now the Israeli government has so much blackmailable and damnable evidence against your politicians here in America. Come on, think about it. Bill Clinton tried to lie. Ain't nobody holding Bill Clinton accountable. And this man flew on that man's plane to his private island at least 25 times. What the fuck was he doing? Going to that man's island. Your president, former president, Bill Clinton. But Bill Cosby go to jail because some old hoes said that he touched them 30-some years ago, 40-some years ago. Bill Cosby in prison, but Bill Clinton was going to Jeffrey Epstein Island having sexual relations with little children. Nothing happened. You know why? Because he was controlled. He did what he was told. Again, you think our politicians make decisions for us on our behalf? Fuck no. The politicians in Washington, D.C., and I want y'all to study a group called CPAC. This study any Jewish lobbyist group that's here in America, and you will really start to unravel and peel the layers off like an onion and see how your government is controlled by the Israeli government. To the point again that we give them $10 million a week just to make new weapons and come up with new tactics in suppressing the civil rights of a human being. Again, we don't know black folks how you want. I mean, we don't know how black folks deal with this and how it affects us. Ask George Floyd. Oh, I forgot. You can't, because the tactic that they used to murder George Floyd with the knee on the neck, they learned it from the Israeli Defense Force, who gets money from our government, $10 million a week, to practice these types of tactics on the oppressed people of Palestine. So this is what's really going on over in Israel. But here in America, you will have no clue, because again, the American Jewish control media, and please don't nobody sit here and try to say this is anti-Semitic, because it's not. We as black people are more Semitic than those imposters over there are in the first place, because black people were the original Hebrews, who were the original Jews. They got us in over here thinking that we just meant to be slaves. Because don't the Bible condone slavery? Nowhere in the Bible does it say in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not have slaves. No, it says slaves, obey your masters. And this was written to rewrite history and keep us thinking that those are God's chosen people. And again, if God created all mankind, and then all these races, all these creeds and nationalities, and said that one was better than everybody else, that's a racist God. He is racist. Get mad. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at the Bible and the motherfuckers that teach you that if you're a slave and master hit you in your right cheek, turn, let him hit you in the left cheek. That's why we got a slave-ass mentality here as black folks in America. We will sit back and worship the people who oppress us because we don't want to go outside the Bible and study real history. Anything outside the Bible, ooh, you're gonna read that, that's of the devil. How the fuck do we really know that the people who wrote the Bible were not of the devil? It's a book Oh, if the Bible was inspired by God, well, why couldn't the Quran be inspired by God? Why couldn't the Talmud be inspired by God? Why couldn't the Mahanatu be inspired by God? Why is it the Bible is the only book inspired by God? Oh, and they always come up with that because the Bible is the only book that tells the past, present, and future. You know why? Because they stole that shit from the Hindu, the Samaritan, the Mesopotamian religions that predated it by damn near 25 to 30,000 years. Why does the story of Jesus sound so much similar to the story of Horus, Isis, and Osiris? Because y'all realize there was a virgin birth in that story that preceded your Bible by 10,000 years. So you have been brainwashed by a Jewish-controlled media to believe that those folks throwing rocks, because you never see what they throwing rocks at. All they gonna show you is throwing rocks. But that's all they got against motherfucking tanks, against heavy artillery. You're not being shown that because you are not allowed to know the truth as to what Israel is doing. Israel is the most oppressive apartheid state on the planet right now. And Negroes will sit around and call them God's chosen people. White folks sit around and call them God's chosen people. And those people are over there literally starving a whole group of people. And the 15, 20 million people. I mean, we're going to say 5 to 15 million people, starving them folks to death, giving them polluted water. Will not let them get, they trying to force us to take a vaccine. The Israelis are not even allowing those people to get vaccinations into Gaza Strip, into the West Bank. They won't let them get food. They control everything that goes in and out of Palestine. And these will be God people. These are the most brutal and oppressive people on the planet. Why is it that those people over there can continue to scream about the Holocaust and get every other country in the West to give them millions of dollars? They can scream Holocaust and our government will probably give them $100 million a year for some shit that we didn't have nothing to do here in America. America didn't have nothing to do with what Hitler was doing to them folks. So why are we giving them all this financial aid? But yet still, black folks are told, or we talk about slavery, we told, shut the fuck up, nigga. There's nothing really to talk about here. That shit was ancient history. Let me show you how recent history that shit really was. Because my mama and a lot of you all, mothers and fathers, were alive when motherfuckers, black folk, couldn't even go downtown, Freeport, and drink out the same water fountain that white folks were. This shit was just 60 years ago, here in America, here in Freeport. But we're told, shut the fuck up, nigga. That slavery shit was a long time ago. We had nothing to do with it. Bullshit. Some of y'all was alive and would let my mama go downtown to where her mama worked at, which is F&W Woolworth, and sit at the counter or drink out the water fountain. That shit is recent history. We don't want to deal with that. But we'll deal with some shit that the Jews tell us we need millions of dollars for, some shit we didn't have nothing to do with in America. That shit was on the Germans. So why are we paying for what the Germans did to the Israelis, who really don't belong there in the first place? And I'm gonna show y'all something else, and I'm gonna end this video. One thing that nobody really, everywhere them people went, from the time that they left Khazar, Russia, everywhere they went, those countries kicked their ass out. Because the first thing they did was gain control of that country's financial system. Do y'all know that your Federal Reserve is not federally operated and ran at all? That shit is a private group of bankers, most of them Jewish, quote unquote Jewish. A private group of individuals own your money because they blackmailed President Woodrow Wilson in 1912 to create the Federal Reserve Act, which gave them the power to print up some motherfucking paper and loan it to your government at interest, which the Bible speaks against. Interest is the same thing as usury. The Bible speaks against that. But that's how they got so powerful. They'll loan your government $1 and charge your government $1.25 for interest. And your government has been controlled by this fake monetary system ever since. The Federal Reserve has nothing to do with your federal government. The IRS has nothing to do with your federal government. These are private institutions ran by the Jewish cabal that owns the money and owns the banks that lends your government the money. And guess how your government pay that shit back to those bankers? Taxes. Through us. Man, this show, I gotta end this show, man. I go even deeper, man. Matter of fact, catch the YouTube show. The YouTube broadcast. I'm gonna go even deeper into the history so that you all can, maybe if you really don't want to accept it, that's not my fault. But the truth is what it is. And give you an example of how the truth is. Man, where's the Bible at? I want to quote a scripture out of Revelation. Since y'all believe so much in that Bible, the Bible tells you God will come against those who call themselves Jews, but are really not, but they are of the synagogue of Satan. How you going to argue with that? If you believe the Bible says the Jews are God's people, the Bible also says there's going to come a point in history where you're going to have a group of imposters who call themselves Jews, but are nothing more than a synagogue of Satan. We're going to get deep. Matter of fact, I'm going to drive you. I'm going to put a steering wheel in your forehead because for the next few days, I'm going to come back. And I know ain't nobody going to watch Facebook. Going to probably kick me off. Oh, let me go into that. Because I also said part 2, there's going to be 2 parts of the video. And I'm definitely going to end it. You want to know how easy it is to control your mind and control what you're thinking? And one of the reasons why black people, I keep saying, we're the only people that don't have a culture. We're being indoctrinated with a culture of death. Do you realize there's 2 people right now that controls 90% of what you see and hear on a daily basis? There's Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos. Think about it. If you're watching this video right now, Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. He owns pretty much all that social media where you can basically interact in real time with each other. The other person, Jeff Bezos, owns Amazon, Google, YouTube. Think about it. We as black people, we as Americans, think we got total control and access to the internet, but that is a lie. Jeff Bezos controls and owns and controls Google, which controls 90% of the internet traffic and search engine searches that we're allowed to see in America. But that 90% that Jeff Bezos allows us to see is only 30% of what's actually on the World Wide Web. Do the research, man. Instead of getting on YouTube, watching motherfuckers shake their ass or fight videos or politics or whatever, get on YouTube and understand who these people are that control YouTube, who controls Google, who controls Facebook. Because now these 2 guys, Zuckerberg and Bezos, who we all know, well, I'll put it like this, who those who really know are nothing more than CIA operatives, given these platforms and now are using these platforms to control the flow of knowledge to you. So that if you don't look outside of these entities, you're going to be brainwashed and caught up. This is why black people are so fucked up. Because the only thing that they give us through media, through social media and all this, is a culture of death, sex, drugs, violence, chaos, and mayhem. How many of you all actually use the internet to try to go and read an ancient document from Mesopotamia to see actually what the people who preceded the quote-unquote Christians by them the 25,000 years, what they actually believe? Now, we don't use the internet for that. We use the internet for dumb shit. Look, y'all see that fight up there in Detroit? Man, I seen it on YouTube now. Everybody got their shit trending. And guess what? That's another thing they do. They call it trending topics. They use that shit there to keep you dumb down. To keep you from searching real truth, they're going to give you a trending topic. And everybody, notice this. Negroes, well, everybody in America, not just Negroes, but people love doing these dumbass challenges that you see on Facebook. One motherfucker started a challenge. That shit goes viral. One dumbass challenge. But let somebody challenge. I'm gonna take back our neighborhood from the criminal challenge. Man, nobody won't see that shit, man. Shit, nigga. Well, you see that twerking video, that one girl with that big old juicy ass, she would twerk. That's what Negroes gonna say. Man, nobody won't see that shit there, man. There ain't nothing but a bunch of people standing out there trying to cut out all the criminals, the crime in their neighborhood. Man, nobody won't see that shit. But let a twerking challenge come up. Woo! That shit'll go viral. You'll have 9 million likes on that bitch and that 20 million views in the first 30 minutes that is on social media. You're being controlled in every way. And they're using Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg to dictate what you hear. You think censorship is bullshit? I'm going to say this, I'm going to leave. As Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all these platforms that you think you're getting knowledge from, if they can censor a sitting president of the motherfucking United States, shut him down, censor him where he does not have a voice, what chance do you think you and I got? Anyway, we're going to come back with another part 2 to this video here just for Facebook, but if you really want to get deep with it, catch us on YouTube. But until y'all see us again on here, oh, matter of fact, y'all see that little shit down there at the bottom? That's PayPal. That's Cash App. Nobody supports this channel. We don't have sponsors. And that's partly my decision, because anytime you have sponsors, you got to be careful who you take money from. Motherfuckers will give you money and you start accepting it. Now they control your message. So we don't have no sponsors. We the broke version of the news. That's why we cuss and do what we want to fucking do, because there's nobody paying for our Wi-Fi. But at the same time, I'm struggling right now. I need help with that. So if y'all really like what we do, or you like to hate what we do, please hit the like button for this video so that we can go viral with this truth. Most importantly, please hit that PayPal, hit that Cash App, because there is a serious situation that I got going on right now. I'm not putting shit out there publicly, but I will reach out to certain people and let them know what's really going on. We can use it right now. We waiting on a nice piece of money to come in that's gonna change the whole situation, but until then, it's fucked right now. But we making it. Again, I'm gonna stop cussing to the next video, so y'all Christians, y'all can watch it. But anyway, this your boy Ron Thomas Jr. from the Real News Behind the News, saying I hope y'all have a good night. Danny, what's up, cuz? But anyway, y'all be blessed. Think about at least think about what I say. And if you really like what I'm trying to do, because again, I'm not trying to get you to believe what I want you to believe. My job is to get you to think differently than what you're being indoctrinated and brainwashed to believe. Again, the mainstream media, who is controlled by them same folks over there showing you some shit, telling you on the news, well, we bombed that building because Hamas is this bullshit. They bombed that building because they don't want you to see what they're doing to them folks over there, who are the rightful owners of that land. The government job, the media's job, is to fuck you with their propaganda stick and get you pregnant with their propaganda and lies. My job is to be the condom to keep that shit from happening. Y'all be blessed. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Most importantly, please, right now we need it. Hit the Cash App button. Y'all be blessed.